The massive Empire starship hung silently in the darkness of space, its sensors scanning the blue-green planet below. Captain Smith of Earth's Defense Monitoring Station watched the alien vessel through his advanced telescopes, careful not to reveal that he could see them. The Empire thought they were being clever, hiding behind the moon, but humans had detected them 3 months ago. The Empire's survey ship transmitted its findings back to their command center. Primitive species detected. Early space-age development. No significant defensive capabilities observed. Recommend immediate addition to Empire territory. In the Grand Hall of the Empire's Central Command, High Commander Vale studied the report with growing interest. His species had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, and they had gotten very good at judging new civilizations. These humans seemed like an easy target. They had only reached their moon. Their ships still used chemical rockets, and their weapons were based on simple gunpowder and nuclear fission. "Prepare the invasion fleet," Vale ordered, his voice carrying across the massive chamber. This will be a simple operation. But Vale didn't know what was happening on Earth. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Stone sat in a room filled with military leaders from around the world. The screens behind him showed clear images of the Empire's ships, their movements, and even some of their communications that Earth scientists had managed to decode. "They think we're primitive," Stone said, a small smile playing on his face. "They don't know about the quantum shields. They haven't detected our hidden defense platforms. And most importantly, they have no idea that we've been watching them for months." General Reed nodded, looking at the detailed scans of Empire technology that Earth's hidden satellites had collected. "Their ships are impressive, but their tactics are predictable. They rely too much on their advanced technology. They don't expect resistance." In orbit, the Empire's scout ships continued their survey, completely missing the tiny quantum dots that Earth had spread throughout their solar system. These invisible sensors were feeding a constant stream of data back to Earth's Defense Command, giving humans a perfect view of every Empire movement. "What about the defense platforms?" asked Colonel Banks, looking at the holographic display showing Earth's orbital defenses. "Still hidden," Admiral Stone replied. "The Empire's scans can't detect them because they're looking for metal and energy signatures. They don't know we've developed organic computing and zero-emission technology. To them, our satellites look like space debris." The room fell silent as a new alert appeared on the main screen. The Empire was sending more ships. Their invasion fleet was gathering. "They're following their standard pattern," Stone explained, pulling up data from previous Empire conquests that Earth's intelligence had gathered. "They'll send an ultimatum, expect us to surrender in fear, and then attack with overwhelming force. That's what they've done to every other species they conquered. But we're not like the others," General Reed said, his voice firm. "We've had time to prepare, time to hide our real capabilities, time to study their weaknesses." Admiral Stone stood up, walking to the massive window that looked out over the mountain range. In the distance, he could see the fake missile silos that Earth had built. Perfect decoys to make the Empire think they knew Earth's military capabilities. The real defenses were elsewhere, hidden in places the Empire would never think to look. "Let them come," Stone said quietly. "Let them think we're primitive. Let them think we're defenseless. And when they attack—" He turned back to the room, his eyes showing a mix of determination and anticipation. "When they attack, they'll learn why you should never underestimate humans." In space, the Empire's ships continued their surveillance, their crews confident in their superior technology and military might. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, and this one looked easier than most. They didn't notice the small changes in Earth's orbit, didn't recognize the significance of the apparent space junk, and couldn't detect the quantum fields that humans had spread throughout their solar system. The Empire was preparing for war, but they were preparing for the wrong kind of war. They were getting ready to fight a primitive species with basic space technology. What they would find instead was something very different. A species that had learned the art of deception, that had hidden its true capabilities, and that was more than ready for a fight. The first war between humans and the Galactic Empire was about to begin, and only one side knew what was really coming. The Empire's message arrived on every screen, radio, and communication device on Earth. Their massive hologram appeared in the skies above every major city, showing Ambassador Gray of the Empire in all his alien glory. "People of Earth," the alien diplomat announced, his translator converting his complex language into Earth's major languages. "Your planet has been chosen to join the Galactic Empire. Surrender peacefully, and you will be granted basic rights as Imperial citizens. Resist and face destruction." In the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, world leaders watched the message with carefully hidden smiles. The Empire had given them exactly what they expected, an ultimatum delivered with overwhelming arrogance. "They're right on schedule," Admiral Stone said, addressing the assembled leaders. "Just like every other invasion they've conducted in the past 50 years. He nodded to President Wilson, who stepped forward to deliver Earth's response. The president's message was broadcast globally, his words carefully chosen to match what the Empire expected from a frightened primitive species. We request 1 week to consider your generous offer," he said, adding a slight tremor to his voice. "This is a big decision for our people." In orbit, Ambassador Gray watched the response with satisfaction. These humans were reacting just like all the other primitive species, with fear and uncertainty. He sent his report back to the Empire. "Target species showing expected response. Recommend preparation for standard conquest protocol." But in secret bases around the world, humanity's real response was very different. Deep under the Pacific Ocean, submarine factories activated their production lines. Hidden facilities in the Amazon rainforest began launching clouds of microscopic robots into the upper atmosphere. Antarctic research stations revealed themselves to be massive shield generators. "All defense platforms report ready," Colonel Banks announced in the Military Command Center. "Quantum grid is at full power. Decoy targets are in position." General Reed studied the holographic display showing the Empire's fleet positions. "They're positioning exactly where we predicted. Their tactical doctrine hasn't changed in centuries. They always follow the same attack patterns." In orbit, the Empire's ships continued to gather, their crews confident in their superior technology. They didn't notice how Earth's apparent space debris was slowly moving into strategic positions. They didn't detect the quantum field strengthening around the planet. And they certainly didn't realize that every transmission they sent was being intercepted, decoded, and analyzed by Earth's advanced AI systems. "What about the other colonies?" President Wilson asked during the Emergency Council meeting. "The ones they've already conquered." Admiral Stone pulled up a secure communication channel. On the screen appeared representatives from dozens of seemingly conquered worlds. "They're ready," he said. "The Empire thinks they broke these civilizations, but they just went underground. They've been waiting for someone to strike first." The week passed slowly. The Empire watched as Earth's leaders appeared to argue amongst themselves, as protests broke out in cities, carefully staged, and as military forces moved into obvious defensive positions, all decoys. Everything they saw confirmed their belief that humans were primitive, disorganized, and afraid. On the final day, Ambassador Gray sent another message. "Your time for consideration has ended. What is your answer?" In the command center, Admiral Stone looked at the assembled leaders of Earth. Each one nodded. The time had come. President Wilson stood before the global broadcast system, but this time there was no pretense of fear in his voice. "Ambassador Gray," he said, his voice strong and clear, "we've known about your empire for years. We've studied your tactics, analyzed your technology, and prepared our defenses. You thought you were observing us, but we were actually studying you." The ambassador's confident expression faltered for the first time. This wasn't the response he expected from a primitive species. "You want our answer." President Wilson continued. "Here it is. Earth does not surrender. Earth never surrenders. and you're about to learn why the Empire should have left us alone." As the president finished speaking, thousands of hidden defense platforms shimmered into visibility around the Earth. The quantum grid crackled with energy, and Earth's real military forces emerged from their hiding places. The Empire's invasion fleet suddenly found itself surrounded by weapons and technology they hadn't known humans possessed. The war was about to begin, and the Empire was already behind. The Empire struck first, just as humans expected. Their massive ships launched a wave of energy weapons, intending to destroy Earth's obvious military targets, the very targets humans had carefully placed as decoys. Commander Reed watched from his real command center, hidden inside an asteroid near Mars. "All ships hold position," he ordered as the Empire's attack lit up Earth's atmosphere. "Let them think they're winning." The Empire's generals celebrated as their first strike destroyed Earth's apparent defenses. Missile silos exploded, military bases crumbled, and satellite systems went dark. Ambassador Gray smiled as he watched the destruction. "See how easily they fall," he told his crew. "Like all primitive species." Then Earth struck back. The quantum grid, invisible until now, suddenly blazed to life. A web of pure energy surrounded the planet, catching and absorbing the Empire's weapons. At the same time, thousands of tiny ships emerged from their hiding places in Earth's asteroid belt. These weren't the chemical rockets the Empire had seen before. These were advanced vessels powered by technology that humanity had kept hidden. "All ships, attack pattern Delta," Commander Reed ordered. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, using tactics the Empire had never seen before. Instead of meeting the Empire head-on, Earth's ships attacked from multiple directions, using the quantum grid to appear and disappear at will. In the Empire's flagship, alarms blared as their sensors tried to track the human ships. "Impossible," shouted the Empire's fleet commander. "Their technology. They couldn't have hidden this." But they had. While the Empire had watched Earth's obvious rocket launches and satellite deployments, humanity's real space fleet had been built in secret, hidden in plain sight as mining operations and space debris. Commander Reed's voice crackled across all frequencies, deliberately letting the Empire hear. "Strike teams Alpha through Echo. Begin Operation Thunderstorm." The human ships struck with devastating precision. They didn't target the Empire's weapons or shields. Instead, they hit specific points that Earth's intelligence had identified as weak spots. Small quantum bombs attached to the Empire ships' hulls, bypassing their shields completely. Advanced AI systems hacked into their communications, scrambling their coordination. "Status report," Ambassador Gray demanded, watching as his fleet fell into chaos. "We've lost 30% of our ships," his officer reported, fear in his voice. "Their weapons, they're not following any known patterns. We can't predict where they'll strike." In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone watched the battle unfold. The Empire's mighty fleet, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, was being torn apart by an enemy they had underestimated. Earth's ships moved like a swarm of angry bees, striking and vanishing before the Empire could respond. "Launch Phase 2, Stone ordered." Suddenly, the debris field around Earth, pieces the Empire had dismissed as space junk, came to life. Each piece was actually a tiny automated fighter, powered by organic computers that the Empire's scans couldn't detect. Thousands of these fighters swarmed the Empire's ships, overwhelming their defenses with sheer numbers. The Empire tried to retreat, to regroup and bring in reinforcements. But Earth had prepared for this too. Hidden jump gate disruptors activated, preventing the Empire ships from escaping into faster-than-light travel. "Your Excellency," an Empire officer reported to Ambassador Gray, "we're trapped. We can't retreat. Their technology, it's beyond anything we expected, beyond anything we've seen." Commander Reed's voice came over the communications again. "This is humanity's first and only warning. Leave our solar system, or we will destroy every ship you send against us." The Empire's mighty fleet, which had never known defeat, found itself facing a choice: surrender or destruction. Their advanced weapons were useless against Earth's quantum shields. Their tactics, unchanged for centuries, were being countered before they could execute them. And their confidence, built on thousands of years of easy victories, was shattered. In just one battle, humanity had done what no other species had managed in 10,000 years. They had defeated an Empire fleet. And this was just the beginning. The Empire's War Council chamber had never been so quiet. High Commander Vale stood before the massive holographic display, showing their fleet's devastating defeat at Earth. The silence was broken only by the soft murmur of disbelief from the gathered generals. How? Vale demanded, his voice echoing through the chamber. How did a primitive species hide such technology? How did they defeat our best fleet? Major Turner watched this scene through Earth's quantum spy drones, which had infiltrated the Empire's capital world weeks ago. She sat in her command center on one of Earth's hidden space stations, gathering intelligence for humanity's next move. "They're calling an emergency meeting of their full military command," she reported to Admiral Stone. "Just as we predicted. They're too proud to accept defeat. They'll send everything they have." The Empire's response was massive. Thousands of warships gathered from across their territory, forming the largest fleet they had assembled in 500 years. Their generals believed that sheer numbers would overwhelm whatever tricks the humans had used. But humans had planned for this too. "Launch Operation Ghost Fleet," Admiral Stone ordered. Across the Empire's supply lines, hidden human ships emerged from their camouflaged positions. These ships had been placed months ago, disguised as abandoned vessels or space debris. Major Turner had personally overseen their positioning, knowing the Empire would need to resupply their massive fleet. "This is why you don't put all your ships in one place," she said, watching as her forces struck the Empire's supply lines. A lesson they should have learned long ago. The Empire's massive fleet, preparing to attack Earth, suddenly found itself without fuel, ammunition, or supplies. Their supposedly secure supply routes were being attacked by ships that appeared out of nowhere, struck hard, and vanished before they could respond. In the Empire's War Council, panic began to spread. "Our tactics aren't working," one general admitted. "These humans, they don't fight like any species we've encountered. They're everywhere and nowhere at once." Major Turner's forces continued their hit-and-run attacks, using technology that the Empire still couldn't understand. Earth's ships could jump in and out of quantum space at will, making them impossible to track. Their weapons could bypass the Empire's strongest shields as if they weren't even there. "Send in the drone fleets," Vale ordered desperately. The Empire launched millions of automated attack drones, expecting to overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer numbers. But humans had been preparing for this too. Major Turner pressed a button, activating Earth's quantum virus. The Empire watched in horror as their entire drone fleet suddenly turned around, attacking their own ships instead of Earth's. "Impossible," Vale shouted. "They've hacked our unhackable systems." "No." Major Turner transmitted on all frequencies, letting the Empire hear her voice. "We didn't hack them. We rebuilt them. While you were watching our rockets, we were studying your technology. Every piece of space debris you ignored. Those were our research stations, every abandoned ship you passed. Our laboratories." The Empire's military doctrine, unchanged for thousands of years, was falling apart. Their rigid tactics were useless against an enemy that refused to fight in predictable ways. Their technology, once their greatest advantage, was being turned against them. "Status report," Vale demanded from his generals. "We've lost 40% of our supply lines," one reported nervously. "Our drone fleet is compromised. Half our fuel reserves are destroyed, and we still can't track their ships or penetrate their shields." In her command center, Major Turner watched the Empire's mighty fleet drift helplessly in space, cut off from their supplies and support. "This is why you should have left us alone," she transmitted to them. "We didn't want this war. You brought it to us. And now you're learning why that was a mistake." The Empire's greatest fleet hung motionless in space, their ships running low on fuel and supplies. They had come to crush a primitive species. Instead, they were being systematically taken apart by an enemy that had anticipated their every move. And Earth was just getting started. General West stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, Thunder, looking at the holographic display of Empire space. Red dots showed Empire worlds, while blue lines marked their defense networks. What the Empire didn't know was that humans had already infiltrated most of these systems. All battle groups report ready, his second-in-command reported. Operation Lightning Strike is go. For the first time since the war began, humanity was taking the fight to Empire territory, but they weren't attacking military targets, not directly. General West had a different plan. Begin quantum jumps, he ordered. Remember, we're not here to destroy. We're here to show them they can't stop us. Across Empire space, human ships appeared simultaneously at 50 different locations. They materialized inside supposedly impenetrable defense shields, next to crucial space stations, and directly above Empire cities. They didn't fire a single shot. They just appeared, proved they could reach anywhere they wanted, and vanished again. In the Empire's capital, alarms blared as reports flooded in. Human ships detected in the Centauri sector. One operator called out, "More in the Orion defense zone. They're everywhere." High Commander Vale watched in horror as human vessels appeared and disappeared across his territory. "How are they bypassing our shields?" he demanded. "How are they appearing inside our defensive grids?" The answer came in the form of a transmission from General West, broadcast across all Empire frequencies. "Your shields only stop things traveling through normal space. We're not using normal space anymore." Earth's scientists had cracked the secret of quantum space travel months ago. While the Empire's ships needed to travel in straight lines through normal space, human ships could step sideways through quantum space, appearing anywhere they wanted. On a dozen Empire worlds, the conquered species watched in amazement as human ships danced through Empire defenses like they weren't even there. Hope began to spread. The mighty Empire wasn't invincible after all. Phase 2, General West ordered. His ships began targeting the Empire's quantum communication relays, not destroying them, but replacing them with Earth's own technology. Within hours, the Empire's entire communication network was under human control. "Send the message," West commanded. Every screen, every communication device, every holographic projector in Empire space activated at once. The message was simple: footage of Earth's ships bypassing their best defenses, proof that humanity could strike anywhere at any time. "This is a demonstration," West's voice announced to the Empire's billions of citizens. "We can reach any target in your territory. We can bypass any defense. We could destroy your military installations at will. But we won't, because unlike you, we don't believe in unnecessary destruction." In the Empire's War Council, panic turned to despair. Their mighty defenses, built over thousands of years, were useless against this new form of warfare. The humans weren't just defeating them, they were humiliating them. "We're detecting more quantum signatures," an Empire officer reported nervously. They're appearing inside our weapons factories, our shipyards, our research facilities." General West's ships materialized inside the Empire's most secure facilities. Again, they didn't attack. They simply downloaded all the technical data they could find. Earth's quantum computers analyzed Empire technology in real time, finding weaknesses and improvements the Empire had never imagined. "Your technology is impressive," West transmitted to the Empire's leadership. "But you stopped innovating. You stopped thinking of new ways to use it. You became comfortable and predictable. That's why you're losing this war." The conquered species on Empire worlds began to rebel, inspired by humanity's success. They had watched Earth's ships prove the Empire wasn't invincible, and now they wanted their freedom too. General West watched from his flagship as the Empire's carefully maintained order began to crumble. Their rigid society, built on military might and technological superiority, was falling apart in the face of human ingenuity and adaptability. The war wasn't over, but everyone knew this was the turning point. Humanity hadn't just proved they could fight the Empire. They had proved they could beat them at their own game. Admiral Carter walked through the captured Empire space station, studying their technology with interest. His team of engineers was already taking apart their weapons and engines, not to copy them, but to improve them. In just 3 days, they had found 30 different ways to make Empire technology work better. "Sir," one of his engineers called out, "you need to see this." She pointed to a screen showing the Empire's historical records. They haven't updated their basic ship designs in over 500 years. They just kept building the same things, bigger and bigger. This was the Empire's greatest weakness, Carter realized. They had stopped trying to improve, stopped trying to innovate. They thought they were perfect already. In the Empire's Central Command, High Commander Vale faced the bitter truth. Reports showed massive casualties, not in lives, because the humans weren't killing unless they had to, but in ships, stations, and equipment. Everything the Empire had built was either destroyed, captured, or turned against them. "Play the human transmission again," Vale ordered quietly. The holographic screen showed Admiral Carter's last message. "Your Empire has forgotten the most important lesson in warfare. Never stop learning. While you were building bigger versions of the same old ships, we were thinking of new ways to fight. While you were perfecting your current technology, we were inventing new ones." Vale watched as the message showed human ships appearing inside Empire bases, bypassing shields that had protected them for centuries. He saw Empire weapons being turned off by human quantum signals. Most disturbing of all, he saw human engineers taking Empire technology and making it better in ways his own scientists had never considered. Another report from the outer sectors. An officer announced, 3 more worlds have declared independence. They're using human quantum communications to coordinate their rebellion. This was the Empire's nightmare coming true. For thousands of years, they had kept their conquered species in line through superior technology and military might. Now humans were showing everyone that the Empire wasn't invincible. Worse, they were sharing their knowledge with the rebels. Admiral Carter's fleet appeared in orbit around another Empire world. Like before, they didn't attack. Instead, they transmitted technical data to the planet below. Plans for quantum shields, improved energy systems, and advanced weapons. "We're not here to destroy your empire," Carter's message played on all channels. "We're here to show you that your way isn't the only way. Your technology isn't the best it could be. Your methods aren't the only methods." In his command center, Vale watched as centuries of empire control crumbled. Rebellion was spreading faster than they could contain it. Every time they sent ships to stop an uprising, human vessels would appear from quantum space and disable them. "Sir," an Empire scientist reported, "we've analyzed their quantum drive technology. It's based on theoretical work we abandoned 500 years ago. We thought it was impossible, but they found a way to make it work." This was what terrified the Empire most. Humans hadn't just matched their technology. They had taken paths the Empire had dismissed, explored ideas they had abandoned, and found success where the Empire had assumed failure. Admiral Carter stood on his bridge, watching another Empire fleet surrender without a fight. His ships had proven they could appear anywhere, strike any target, and bypass any defense. But more importantly, they had proven that the Empire's way of thinking was outdated. "Send the final message," Carter ordered. Every screen in Empire space lit up one more time. The message was simple: footage of human engineers improving Empire technology, of freed worlds building better defenses, of ships using quantum drive to ignore the Empire's most powerful shields. "Your Empire has ruled through superior technology and military might," Carter's voice announced. "But you forgot that superiority isn't permanent. It must be earned again and again through innovation, adaptation, and the courage to try new things. This war is ending not because we destroyed you, but because we showed everyone a better way. The Empire's mighty fleets stayed in their ports, their commanders knowing they couldn't win. Their perfect technology had been surpassed. Their unbeatable tactics had been countered. Their absolute control had been broken. And it was all because they had underestimated a species that never stopped learning, never stopped improving, and never accepted that something was impossible just because someone else had failed. The peace conference was held in neutral space, aboard a massive station built specifically for this purpose. Admiral Stone stood at the window, watching ships from both sides maintain their careful distance. Empire vessels hung motionless on one side, while Earth's quantum-powered ships flickered in and out of normal space on the other. Inside the main conference chamber, representatives from Earth sat across from the Empire's leadership. High Commander Vale looked older now, the weight of defeat visible in his posture. Behind him, holographic screens showed the extent of the Empire's losses, not in destroyed ships or stations, but in worlds that had declared independence after seeing Earth's example. "We are prepared to offer terms," Admiral Stone began, his voice calm and measured. "But first, we want to show you something." The chamber's display lit up, showing images that made the Empire leaders gasp. Hidden human bases throughout their territory, some of them decades old. Quantum observation posts that had watched their fleets for years. Research stations that had studied their technology long before first contact. "We knew about your empire 20 years ago," Stone explained. "We saw what you did to other worlds. So we prepared. We studied. We learned. And most importantly, we innovated." Vale's voice was quiet when he responded. "Why show us this now?" "Because you need to understand," Stone answered. "Your empire's greatest weapon wasn't your technology or your fleets. It was your reputation. The belief that you were invincible. We broke that reputation not by destroying your ships, but by showing everyone a better way." The peace terms were displayed on the screens. They were surprisingly gentle. Earth didn't want territory or reparations. Instead, they demanded three things: independence for any world that wanted it, free sharing of technology throughout the galaxy, and a fundamental change in how the Empire operated. "Your empire can continue," Stone said, "but not as conquerors. You will become teachers, traders, partners. Your experience and knowledge are valuable, but only if you share them, only if you keep improving them." Vale looked at the terms, then at his advisors. They all knew they had no choice. The humans had proven they could appear anywhere in Empire space at will. They could shut down Empire technology with a thought. Most importantly, they had shown the galaxy that the Empire could be beaten. "Before we sign," Vale said, "answer one question. How did you do it? How did you hide such advancement from us?" Stone smiled. "We didn't hide our advancement. We hid our potential. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. A species learning, growing, making mistakes. You never realized that the mistakes were calculated, the growth was guided, and the learning was far beyond what you imagined. The peace treaty was signed within hours, but that wasn't the end. As part of the agreement, the Empire had to send one final message, a warning to every species in the galaxy. The message was broadcast in every language, to every world. Let it be known throughout the galaxy. The species known as humans are not to be underestimated. They do not think like us. They do not fight like us. They do not stop learning, stop improving, stop innovating. If you see their primitive technology, assume it's a deception. If you see their mistakes, assume they're deliberate. If you think they're weak, remember what they did to the Empire." In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone watched the message broadcast across the galaxy. Beside him, Commander Reed smiled. "Do you think they understand yet?" he asked. "They understand that we beat them," Stone replied. "But they still don't understand how. They think it was our quantum drives, our advanced weapons, our better tactics. They don't realize that our greatest weapon was something they lost long ago. The ability to question everything, to try new ideas, to never accept that something is impossible just because it hasn't been done before. The war was over, but its impact was just beginning. Across the galaxy, species that had lived under Empire control for generations were starting to ask questions, to try new things, to think differently. The Empire's perfect order was being replaced by something more chaotic but more alive. A galaxy where innovation and adaptation were valued above tradition and power. And at the center of it all was Earth, no longer pretending to be primitive, ready to help build a new kind of galactic civilization. One based not on conquest and control, but on learning, growth, and the endless human drive to make things better.